I'm going to go ahead and do that now.
Thank you. Okay. We will be recording today's session so that folks who aren't here can see it, and we'll post it on our YouTube channel. So if you prefer not to be on the recording, you can shut your video off. Thanks, Clark. So yeah, as I was saying, the purpose of today is really to be kind of looking forward at what is planned for 2024, to hear about what each of the circles is up to, what their goals are. We have 12 circles that are working on projects and in areas that are across the food system. So we'll hear about what is planned from each of our circles that you can see listed here. And so, each circle will have about 5 minutes to talk, so we won't be able to get the level of detail that you might be wanting about certain things that you're interested in. So I want to just encourage people to, if you have questions, you can put them in the chat and people can, we can try to answer them in the chat. But otherwise, we encourage people to reach out to the circles. And you can do that through our, I'm not sure if our email, foodpolicycouncil@collaborative.org. That email comes to me, and then I can easily sort of send the email to the right person that you want to get in touch with. You can always visit our website. And I also put a plug in here to sign up for our newsletter, because that is where we often have updates about what's going on in each circle and what's going on just in the FPC more broadly, plus a lot of other awesome stuff in the newsletter every month. So you can sign up for the newsletter on our website. And then we are also on social media now. So you can find us on Facebook and Instagram. Just search for Hampshire County Food Policy Council on Facebook and HCFPC on Instagram. And we are doing better and better about posting there. So, and yeah, just a reminder, as I said before, feel free to do what you need to do during the meeting. I know we're over lunchtime, so if you need to eat, if you need to get up and move, go to the bathroom, do what you need. So, I'm going to pass it over to Piyush, who is going to lead us in a bit of honoring the land.
Thank you, Kristen. Hello, everyone. I am Piyush, and I'm part of the Vision Circle. And in the Vision Circle, we have been thinking about how to do land acknowledgement beyond token acknowledgement of land theft. So one thing which we have come up with is to share a memory or a connection with the land you might remember. It might be from your childhood, or it might be from your work now, or it might be from a land you just remember for some reason. So I invite you all to share a memory or a connection with the land in the chat. And I will share my memory and then read off some of the things which were shared by people in the chat. Yeah. So I grew up in central India, and my grandfathers or grandparents left agriculture to work in the cities. But my favorite memory from childhood is to go back to those farms in the summer, which had an open well and a giant mango tree, and we would just do picnic there. I remember getting indigestion from the pure milk from the cows on the farm. And yeah, those are my favorite times. But uh, in over 15 years ago, I came to United States as an uninvited guest on the land of Pawnee, Kanza, and now Nipmuc people. And I'm trying to heal that broken relationship with the land, which happened few generations ago, and trying to work with the land here in Western Mass as a land steward at Grow Food Northampton. So yeah, that is my work on connecting back to the land and forming a relationship which was hurt some time ago. And yeah, I would invite you all to share some of your connections to the land. and I would like to read them off. Yeah, Kristen shares picking asparagus in the spring in Hadley, where they grew up using the harvest tool their great grandmother used. Yes. Alexandra Mello says many years ago, uh, along the Connecticut River, uh, yeah, they grew up on near the Connecticut River. Ross says they were born on Albuquerque, New Mexico, but grew up around Memphis, Tennessee. And the earliest memories are as a child swinging on vines in the woods and jumping on piles of leaves in the fall. Caitlin is reminiscing about going to nature's classroom in Beckett, where they were in sixth grade, and getting to run around the woods and learning about nature and call it a school day. Jupong shares their time spent in Taiwan. Favorite memory was visiting my grandparents' farm where they would play with the dirt, with chickens running around, shaded by papaya trees. They have been trying to grow those trees here on the Nipmuc land and learning about white and red cedars and writing poems to them. Alisa shares tending to apple trees in the orchard of kibbutz where they grew up, land stolen from indigenous Palestinian villagers, the reason why they center Palestinian liberation in their activism. Megan shares their memories from CSA farm and potlucks with CSA members in Fort Collins, Colorado. Sue shares growing fruits and asparagus in their current gardens and elderberries and dandelions and nettles and turn them into tinctures. And Ruth shares every weekend in summer, they grew up in, they grew up every weekend in summer in Northwoods and near Adirondack Mountains, where they crossed a lake to get into cabin, which their dad built. They loved everything about the woods, water, sky, the trees, swimming, canoeing, changing seasons, and there was no electricity or water there. Stephen shares time spent running loose through new growth forest and rusted out factories of Connecticut. And Clark shares they feel gratitude for the land they steward near Fort River Community Garden in Massachusetts, in Amherst, and currently as a conservation manager of Amherst Conservation Land. A gardener, Roger Matlet, shared with them recently that Algonquin word used by Nonotuck folks for the Fort River is Taunusket. The memory and the beauty of this land is always inside them. And Fern shares that a lot of their early memories from their grandmother's garden and them using a lot of regenerative practices. And they learned about edible forageables in that garden, like purslane and lamb's quarter. And Rosanna shares about their memory from Big Lima City, where they go on vacation, and lots of grapes and mangoes and fruits with the river next to them. So thank you so much for sharing all your memories and connections with the land. I think this is a great way to feel grounded. And I'll pass it back
Thank you.
to Kristen.
I think it's to me now. Thank you so much, Piyush, and everyone for sharing those wonderful memories. Now I'd like to bring forward some of the harvest from the World Cafe that we did a couple of months ago. And And I have a slideshow that, and I forgot to confirm, should I share the slides or can Clark or Kristen?
If it's easier, Jupong, I can share them.
Okay, yeah, it
It
would
probably
be
will
easier.
be easier based on the experience I just had.
Yeah.
Sure.
Thank you very
let me
much.
share my screen.
So some of you who didn't attend the World Cafe, just to let you know what we did, that was another network-wide event where we posed some questions and people sat at tables. We would discuss one question and then everyone would get up and change tables and then go to the next round of questions. So we did that 3 times, so people got a chance to meet new people or connect with partners you already know and share ideas. And out of that, we recorded some of the ideas on note cards and some on big poster sheets. So Kristen, you can go to the next slide. Oh, and I wanted to thank Kia Aoki for taking these scribbled notes and drawings and compiling them into a summary. And Kia also grouped them in several different categories, a bunch of different categories. So I'm just going to read through these pretty quickly and then just pause a little bit on the last one. So in the category of collaboration and community engagement, we want to strengthen collaboration with non-Food Policy Council members, enhancing trust and relationships, increase efforts for in-person engagements and networking to foster community building, expand cross-pollination opportunities, particularly in the Hilltown areas to enhance connectivity, and advocate for language inclusivity, treating language as an asset rather than a barrier. Next slide. Food access and justice. Work on legislative and policy changes to improve access to housing, transportation, and food. Push for better food quality in public schools and expand mobile market initiatives. Support community gardens, donations of seeds and seedlings, and accessible gardening efforts. Focus on culturally appropriate food, recognizing the importance of food for immigrants and various cultures. Actually, I would say for all cultures. Emphasize education around organic food as medicine and eliminate food deserts through expanded community gardens. I just have to make a little note that I'm not fond of the term food deserts because deserts are actually vibrant ecosystems. Advocate for systems change to eliminate oppressive systems using food as a weapon. Okay, next slide. Sustainable and inclusive growth. Develop a self-sustaining funding model for FPC and projects enhancing unlimited funding dreams. Enhance focus on food sovereignty, decolonizing food systems, and promoting food literacy. Encourage organic, local, and non-toxic food options in food pantries and support choice models. Aim for a thriving local food system, supporting CSA programs, ensuring food security. And as I'm reading these, just listen for how your circle is working on contributing to these goals and overall vision. Governance and power sharing, promote shared governance and decision-making processes, including the exploration of sociocracy. Address issues of exclusivity within circles, advocating for broader inclusivity and diversity. Engage in social justice mediation training and develop strategies for de-escalating intense conversations. Next slide. Policy and legislative advocacy. Influence food policy to address bills and legislation related to food justice and access. Support efforts towards state and local resolutions declaring healthy food as a human right. Work towards passing significant acts and resolutions like size-based discrimination acts and local food security resolutions. Educational and cultural initiatives. leverage storytelling and cultural sharing to educate and foster passion
No,
for
no,
food.
no, no, no. Es hora de ir a dormir.
Oh. Plan for workshops and trainings on gardening and food preparation to empower individuals with skills. Promote chemical-free food initiatives and pollution reduction as a form of combating colonialism. Community support and development. Offer stipends and support jobs that pay a living wage, especially for those with lived experience. Develop comprehensive food fund maximization strategies and facilitate real-life networking opportunities. Establish community meals, lending libraries for garden tools, kitchen stuff, and ensure access to community gardens on housing complexes. Next slide. That's just a little taste of the posters. Vision for the future. Emphasize healing the relationship between land and people, focusing on rematriation and land sovereignty. Foster a vision of shared abundance, reparations, and collective efficacy to transform the food system. Advocate for global solidarity issues, emphasizing the importance of food, transportation, and housing as universal rights. I just love this last slide. What a beautiful vision. I think you can stop sharing now. This set of slides and the full documentation of the World Cafe is in a folder on the FPC drive, which we can make available if it's not already available for all of the circles to go back to. So now I'm going to, we're going to go into each of the circles' reports. We ask that you try to keep your presentations to 5 minutes. And do we have a timer in the corner, or are we just?
I think Clark will set
Oh,
it.
I see
yeah,
it. I
as
see
soon
it.
as
Yep.
people start talking. Yeah.
4:59. Okay.
I wanted to add too, to lift up what you said, Jupong, about, we just heard like we have big dreams in the FPC, as Jupong just listed off so many beautiful visions. And, we won't be able to get super into the details with what the circles are working on, but listening for kind of like where there's connections between not just the circles you're a part of, but also the ones you're hearing about. Where is the resonance between what people are, what we have envisioned and what the circles are working on?
Thank you, Kristen. Great. So I'm going to introduce the first set of circles, Vision Circle, then Hub, and then we're going to hear from the core working circles and their subcircles. And we ask that when you present, each circle coordinator or presenter briefly introduce yourself and your role in the circle, and then share the highlights and plans and your goals and what support you need, the responses to the questions that I sent out. And so I'm going to start with the vision circle. So I have to go to my notes for that. So the vision circle, you can start the timer. The vision circle has been navigating a huge transition this past year with the departure of Caitlin Marquis, who played such a central role in leading the FPC. The new role of community coordinator was created to take up some of the tasks and responsibilities that Caitlin held, and I was selected into that role. The first thing we did in the Vision Circle was to select a new roster of partners. More than half of the partners in the current Vision Circle are new as of January. So bringing those new partners on board was a big challenge, as I was simultaneously orienting myself to what the heck is this job that I'm supposed to be doing. Right around the time of the World Cafe, one new partner confronted us with experiences of racism, and our efforts to resolve the conflict really revealed that we have some big differences across the network in terms of how we understand racism and what are our anti-racist practices. How do we practice anti-racism, uprooting racism in the food system? So I tell you that story of this vision circle going through this transition as a way to contextualize the goals. I think one of our big goals is conflict transformation, learning from conflicts and actually learning how to learn from conflicts, learning how to transform conflicts and transform conflicts into something productive and generative and connective. So in terms of that goal, I see the Vision Circle working more closely with the Harm and Repair Circle, and we'll hear more about what Harm and Repair is doing. Also related to this goal is the goal of cultivating ways that we can continue to deepen our processes or practices of reflection and evaluation, reflecting and evaluating what we do, how we do the work, how we solicit feedback, and how we evaluate whether we're meeting our aims or not. If our work is to transform the food system, and in our vision statement, we describe this vision of a resilient, community-owned regional food system. How are we as an FPC actually building capacity for community ownership, for navigating these deep conflicts that come out of or are rooted in inequity in the food system and our other social systems as a whole. So in the Vision Circle, we've also been looking more closely at our aims and domains, looking at our desire to our mission, our charge to do strategic planning. And one point of learning is that I think the Vision Circle really needs to be working more closely with the hub. Many of the decisions that the hub makes are around financial oversight, but that is actually described as part of the Vision Circle's aim. Okay, I'm running out of time, so I'm just going to quickly say, in terms of the support we need, I would like to see us finally begin to plan for that retreat, strategic planning retreat, and include as part of that retreat some training or orientation into different kinds of participatory strategic planning processes. SOAR is an appreciative inquiry approach to strategic planning. So I'll share some of these resources. I'm also excited about, in terms of evaluation, I'm going over time, but I found a really interesting tool called the Food Sovereignty Assessment Tool, developed by the First Nations Development Institute. Another evaluation tool that I'm excited to learn more about and to use is story circles as an ongoing evaluation process. End thought and presentation. Thank you very much. So the next group up is the hub. I'll turn it over to Clark.
And I'm going to attempt to time myself, which means I need to be able to see what I'm going to talk about and the timer and you all at the same time. So I just need to get everything
Would you like
set.
one of us to set a timer for you?
It's more like I just need to split my screen, which I'm almost there. So
Okay.
also want to make sure there's a couple of people who came in a little bit late, just to select a language channel. So you're on the right channel. You go to the bottom of your screen and click on the globe. It'll allow you to select English or Spanish. Okay, I'll start myself here. So yeah, hi everyone. I'm Clark Bankert. I'm currently in the fiscal coordinator role, which is a hub, sort of like the hub. The hub is like the main circle for that role. And as Jupong said, mentioned her community coordinator position that was created when Caitlin left. Actually, Caitlin's position was split into two positions. So community coordinator and fiscal coordinator were the two roles that sort of Caitlin was holding in one, and now we are two. And so I have been playing that role since November, and I will until June. And then we'll select for a new fiscal coordinator. So the hub is, many people know, a representative body. So it's represented by all the core circles in the hub, the coordinators and delegates from each of the core circles: vision, food policy, food action, and capacity building. And then on top of that, there are these roles, my role, Jupong's role. And so there are currently 9 members. Jupong and I are co-facilitators and co-coordinators of the hub. T and Kristen are co-scribes. We also have other members: Yohani, Kia, Alexandra, and Rosanna, our working circle partners. I don't think I missed anyone in there. So our aims, generally speaking, are to work very operationally and coordinatively within the Food Policy Council, kind of like the center place where, you know, everything kind of happens and then gets, we kind of get information from circles, and then we kind of talk about things and we kind of push things back out. So yeah, instead of a pyramidal structure, we're more like the center of a wheel, I guess you could say. So a lot of what we do, our aims are related to budgeting, for labor and money, setting up the aims and domains of the core circles, connecting with FPC partners through semi-annual gatherings like this one, exploring and delegating new opportunities for the network, and disseminating information throughout the network. And so this year, we are really kind of trying to dig in as part of the Urban Agenda Grant that goes until the end of June, and really take advantage of that time period to look at a couple of structural issues in the FPC that sort of are ongoing issues that many of you are familiar with. So one of the issues we're looking at is to revise our stipend program. And as many of you know, we've already had to do a little bit of that because on the CES side, our finance department is now asking people, is now going to be reporting the stipends as income. And so we are asking people to fill out W-9s, and then they will get a 1099 at the end of the year. And we've done a lot of communication about that to people, so I won't go into more depth here about it, but that's a big change because previous to now we've been using Visa gift cards. And so now we will use a check-based system. And so really trying to smooth out the transition for folks and learning as we go around that, because there's a lot of implications for people's financial situation in all of that. And just sort of trying to take a lot of care in how we do that transition and really bringing people into the conversation about it as much as we can. And so we're going to continue to talk about really finding a more sustainable model for our stipend program. And then also looking at the relationship between the FPC and CES, which is also something that's often been talked about. It's confusing. It's not clear who's doing what. I don't even know sometimes. I don't know if CES staff are buffers or gatekeepers or both. I think there's a lot of work there, and hopefully we can facilitate more cross FPC and CES conversations in the next couple of months to really hone in on what is our working relationship and what do we want it to be? What is it currently? What do we want it to be? So I think that's really exciting. And then we also created temporary roles just recently, the storytelling project coordinator and communications coordinator. So yay to Alexandra, who's playing the storytelling project coordinator role, and Steve, who's playing the communications coordinator role. Those are temporary just based on funding. Of course, we'd want them to be fully funded in the future, but for now, they're related to the Urban Agenda Grant. I think that's pretty much good for me. Yeah, maybe the only thing to say is that I'll be transitioning out of this role in June, and I don't know who would come next, but we'll see. Yeah, I think I'll leave it there.
Thank you, Clark. Rosanna, you're up with harm and repair.
Yes, thank you. I'm here. Okay. Yeah, we are a harm and repair circle, and we are part of the vision circle. I think is very good because we are connecting, and the vision circle could know all the time about the temperature of the FPC in regards of feelings and in relation with that. So that is important because the vision circle has to evaluate many things, including that at some point. Well, our aims are develop and implement protocols for addressing conflicts and harm in the FPC, including a way to get feedback from partners. Also, use feedback to improve the protocol and better meet ongoing partners' needs. Also, provide a support space where concerned partners can work through their differences and create a pathway forward. And build an FPC culture and openness, connections, understanding, and compassion rooted in our values. Also support FPC partners in building knowledge and skills for addressing conflicts and harm through a variety of practices. Recommend training that support the aim, and also help connect partners to resources and healing opportunities as desired. So this year, so I think we have a lot of aims, and this is very important. This space is very important because we are working with feelings that is not many times it's not easy, but it's very important. And this is this SPC, the Hampshire County Food Policy Council, is I think is the unique SPC that have this circle, harm and repair circle. So it means that we want to support in the different spheres our members, and to have a space that people could feel comfortable, and to say that your feelings are important for us, for all of us. Sometimes we could handle in our own circles, sometimes not. And at that time, we could have harm and repair circle to support all you. So this is very important that you could know. At this time, asking or answering the first question that your goals for the rest of the year, and is that this year the circle is dedicated to reviewing the protocol with the help of a consultant. And also we are working on a proposal to create a damage and repair, harm and repair guide that include a sheet guide derived from our draft protocol, and also train and practice spatial case studies using guidelines from different models, and update the list of mediators to support conflict resolutions. Also, that is part of our work this year, and develop tools to hold people accountable, responsible. And is yeah, we are trying to be to support members in the best way. So for that reason, we have a consultant this year, and we are very happy working with our consultant, and is also working with the case studies that reveal us many different aspects that we could work with. Just to about the second question is, it would be important to have an annual budget to continue doing this work in the best way, such as being able to continue with some consultancies and or allocate resources to work with external resources if necessary, or organize some events that need some financing. At the last questions is that we are right now working to align our objectives. Working on a protocol is very important because it will reinforce our work and the best way we can support all members. So that's it. I pass a little bit. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Rosanna. So before I pass it to Kristen, I'm just going to ask us all to turn our attention to our bodies. And I'm going to shake out a little bit because, and yeah, maybe stretch, and maybe even get up if you want to. I'm going to stand up and do a little jiggling. Okay, thank you. Now I'll pass it to Kristen.
Thank you, Xipeng. That was much needed. So we are going to continue hearing from our core circles and their sub-circles. And we're going to start out with the Food Action Circle, which I believe Clarissa Dawn is going to present for Food Action Circle. Are you ready, Clarissa? I know we're bringing this on you a little bit. You might not have known when you were coming in the agenda.
No idea when I was starting. Only knew a couple days ago that it was even happening, but we're good.
Thank you so much.
Everybody was sick, so it was just a matter of
I know
who can do what, when and where.
Thank you.
Okay, so my name is Clarissa Adon. I work for CISA. I am the Food Action Circle's current facilitator. I think that's my role. And the Food Action Circle over the last few months has been really rethinking and retalking what our goals are, what our mission is, what our aims, and we talked over the domains and aims, and we've got that set, but what our goals, what we want to do going forward as a circle. We're in the process of really settling on those, but our primary goals for the remainder of this year are to continue increasing our support for all of our sub-circles, and which is the Fort River Garden, the West Hampton Garden, Hilltown Food Councils. And then also we partner with the Amherst Mobile Market, CISA, the Amherst Survival Center, and then the Common Share Food Co-op. And we just want to make sure that we are providing as much support as they need and as we can throughout the rest of the year. Part of that is Clark has joined us and convened a gardening community of practice where all of our garden circles and then any other gardeners in the community, whether it's a private personal garden or a community garden or a school garden or whatever, can just share some knowledge from everything from like how to grow a thing to how to deal with, all of the intricacies of a community garden. And I think that's just going to be so amazing. I'm looking forward to all of that. We had our first meeting and it was great. We are also, looking into other things that we can do, like maybe, is there nutrition education that we can partner with some of our partners to provide? Do we want to do, what more active things actually helping in the community can we do? Can we, look into gleaning food recovery, just do work days at the gardens? So that is what we are looking at for the rest of the year. Look at my time. And then what we need to support that is we are hoping to set up some kind of fund where we can help those gardens and subcircles with mini projects, whether it's the ability to do fundraising for it, or if it's, the ability to work on grant requests. That's a little more hazy. We haven't really gotten to the point of an ask for that. But then also just knowledge shares, one of which was going to be it will help with the community garden, the gardening community of practice. But just knowledge shares across our entire network to see what kind of outreach materials we can come up with. Can there maybe be family events at some of the partner sites or at the mobile market stops once that's running this year? So we're really looking forward to seeing what we can do in the future and where we can bring the Food Action Circle as we're going. And we are already doing a lot of discussion, and we just want to maintain those connections, and we want to maintain our connections with all the subcircles and do regular check-ins with each other, with how we're feeling about what we're doing, what we want to see our circle become in the future. And I think that's it for me. Really
great. Clarissa, do you know what the date is of the next garden community of practice?
No, I don't.
Okay, maybe
It
I don't know if
hasn't
it's
been set yet.
Clark,
Oh, okay.
Clark.
No one knows.
No one
Unless
knows.
you're
Okay.
psychic. If you're psychic,
It's a
tell me,
mystery.
and then I don't have to consult my calendar.
Well, if people are interested in attending that, watch your email where you may see the next coming date when it's decided. All right, so thank you so much, Clarissa, for giving us an update on Food Action Circle. We're going to hear next from the sub-circles of Food Action Circle. So that will be first, we'll hear from Hilltown Food Council, then the Fort River Garden Circle, then the West Hampton Community Gardens Project Circle, and then the Amherst Mobile Market. So I will pass it to Roz, who's going to present for Hilltown Food Council.
Thanks, Kristen. And I'm having trouble reading the clock. So if somebody could give me some kind of sign when I have a minute left, that would be really helpful. A thumb.
Sure,
or
I'll wave when it's about a minute, Roz.
That's perfect. Thanks.
And before you start, Roz, we just had interpreter join, so maybe we'll just take this minute to add her.
Perfect.
Miriam? Thanks, Mariana.
Es Mariana, gracias Mariana, cuídate. Hola Miriam.
Hola. Estoy esperando a que se active la internet.
Okay, you should be set.
Sí.
How's that? Okay.
All right, you're on, Roz. Thanks.
And my name is Roz Malkin. I'm the coordinator of the Hilltown Food Policy Council. And I want to give credit to Hunt Chase, who is the facilitator of this circle, because he put together like 98% of this report. And I'm just going to add a little something here and there. So he made this really easy for me. So the goals, I want to say first that when our circle joined the FPC, we had a steep decline in the number of residents or community members who were participating. So a lot of our work since then, or a good portion of it, was figuring out how to rebuild our circle and how to best use a sociocracy in a way that served our circle and that also where we could give back to the FPC as well. So that's an ongoing thing for us. We have about 10 people now. In terms of our goals through June 30th, we want to finalize and distribute the Hilltown Food Access Inventory brochure in both print and digital formats. We've been working on that for quite a while in order for there to be one place people can go to see where in the Hilltowns and some of the areas around here where they can access food. We are putting on a Hilltown Community Potluck event on May 4th. Of this year, coming up with a Star Trek theme. So if anybody's interested, Saturday, Chesterfield Community Center from 12 to 10, food. Anyway, you'll see flyers and things for it.
Star Wars.
What?
Star Wars, not Star Trek. Star Wars.
I'm sorry, I do this every time. My age is showing. I'm sorry. Thanks, Laura. You're constantly having to remind me of that. Star Wars. And we are exploring Hilltown transportation issues because we want to build a spreadsheet to identify the gaps in the area and to determine additional projects to use grant funding available through June. And in terms of our goals through the end of 2024, we want to hold more gatherings around food, sort of building off of the event of May 4th, get back to bringing community members together again. We're exploring organizing a summer farm hop event to encourage visits to Hilltown farms. We want to create a guide to Hilltown summer farmers markets, continue transportation access advocacy. Transportation issues are big in the Hilltowns, and that's something that we'll be continuing to work on. In terms of, we want to identify ways to improve cultural diversity and inclusion in the council's work. This is an ongoing thing that we explore as well. In terms of the support needed to achieve our goals, we have the support of the communication circle in the FPC for our May 4th Star Wars event, which is really helpful. And we look to FPC for help in ways like that with our events, and you guys have been great with that. And helping to fund some of the expenses related to that. And funding for the printing, the food access brochure, I think that's around $300. Oh my goodness, time is going. Thank you. We'll be looking for grant opportunities through June. We want to continue to support members with stipends. Again, expertise on transportation solutions. The reflection process that we're using is schedule time at meetings every 2 to 3 months to review our progress, provide brief written updates to the FPC quarterly on achievements and challenges, request feedback from the FPC on draft plans, invite FPC representatives to observe, participate, and select Hilltown meetings, access training opportunities provided by the FPC and its networks, and participate in FPC-wide visioning and evaluation sessions. As a Virgo, I have to end on time. Thanks.
Perfect. Perfectly done.
Jeez, I'm out of breath.
You're busy up there in the hill towns. That's
We are.
awesome.
We are busy. We're doing a lot of good stuff.
Yeah. Thank you, Roz. And now we will hear about another busy circle, Fort River Garden. Ruth Hazard is going to present.
I would love to share a quick picture, I don't know, before, after Ruth, so people can, maybe before, so people can see the picture of the garden while you speak.
Yeah, sure.
Would that be
Great.
okay?
Yeah.
Okay. That's the garden. Well, that's part of the garden. This is one of the shared plots that people worked on at the end of the first season, planting fall crops.
Oh, that was the one we did a special project on planting, how to use the end of the season really well, and when we got a really good harvest out of that plot. Yeah, greetings. My name's Ruth. I'm currently facilitating the garden circle. This is our third year, so we have 2 good years of experience behind us. We've been really fortunate to have the support of both Clark and the Food Policy Council, as well as the town of Amherst, which makes a big commitment to us, a significant financial commitment, as well as that we have Stephanie Sicarello's time. We've got 10 members in the garden circle. I think 8 or like 7 are actual have plots in the garden. A number of them are returning from last year or have grown for 2 or 3 years. Some coming in new to the circle. And we have our overall goal as a circle is actually I wanted to say we meet every week from February through October. You wouldn't think there'd be so many things to talk about for one community garden, but there are. And our goal is to keep sustaining the garden by making sure that everything functions in the circle, and that it's run by and also with and for the gardeners. And we're trying to create a culture of learning and a culture of sharing work. We often have work days that we invite the gardeners to work on the common areas. And we're also trying to provide support to the gardeners through the season. We've had workshops. And I think this is an area, and when we talk about our goals this year, this is an area we want to strengthen, so that the gardeners feel well supported, and we address barriers that people might have to even coming to the garden or to feeling comfortable working in the garden. We've got over 30 in-ground plots and over 20 raised bed gardens. We're in the process right now of our sign up and recruitment. We've succeeded in the past couple of years of meeting our goal of at least 60% of the gardeners being BIPOC. And we target people where our goal is to serve people who don't have access to gardens. We are near a couple of large apartment complexes that people could walk from, but we our outreach across the town, because there are not very many community gardens in Amherst. We're still trying to improve our infrastructure, get a shed. The shed is coming. The deer fence was installed thanks to the town. Keep the deer out. We're in part of a big conservation area that has a lot of wetlands. So we're on the edge of the wetlands, but we're just in the area that's not floodplain. Clark has been our coordinator all along, and we're going to lose Clark in June. So we're trying to figure out how and who and how we're going to be able to have I mean, Clark is irreplaceable as a coordinator, but we're gonna have to do that. And I think this year we're sharing more the different responsibilities. We're having helping circles for different needs. The water system, the composting, the seedlings, the infrastructure, the sign up, all those different things, kind of parsing out the responsibilities. And I think one of the things that we need, can really use funding for is if those stipends are really helpful for people to really give the time, you know, to the garden. Yeah, I guess I'm excited to feel, you know, to learn more about the whole overall system and network here, because we have a lot to share, and you know, it'd be wonderful to learn more about and know better what else is happening around through the whole Food Policy Council. So thanks for the opportunity to share.
Thank you so much, Ruth. That was great to hear. So much good work going on, and more garden work happening in West Hampton, over in the hill towns as well. And Sue O'Rourke is going to give us an update from this circle.
Thank you, Kristen. Will you wave again, please? Because I don't see the clock. Thank you.
Sure.
So I'm Sue O'Rourke, the coordinator of the West Hampton Gardens project. I've been connected to the FBC since about 2019, and I was part of the Vision Circle, the Startup Circle, the Food Action Circle still, and some helping circles. So I'm kind of, yeah, I feel part of this organization, which is wonderful. Goals to the rest of the year, to build 13 more raised beds, 3 or 4 for the schools. Both schools have gardens. Hampshire Regional High School, I can see from my window, is exactly opposite where I live, have about 11, and the West Hampton Elementary School, which is maybe just under a mile away, has 2. The plan is to, and then this year is our second year, so we've opened it up to the community, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 additional community members who have paid for either 1 or 2 beds so far, including me, so that I can grow carrots and that I can grow the 3 sisters to show the students what it's like and how it works and why we're doing it. We plan to grow more food for the cafeteria, because the cafeteria staff have said, whatever you grow, we will use. And they produce lunches for both schools. Also during the term time, I have been involved personally, along with the teachers, teaching the students about growing their own food, and as well as the importance of said food being organic, in terms of from a health perspective. We've connected with the coordinator of the West Springfield School Gardens for suggestions and support. We continue to search for funds to cover larger projects, such as a hydroponic system. We've already contacted an organization which provides those systems and educates people how to use them. I was concerned because the standard hydroponic is not organic, so we now have that in play. We would like a hoop house. We'd like a solar pump system for our watering. We'd like another water tank. And we need another second shed at the elementary school. We didn't manage to do that last year. What do we need to support our goals? Until and if we are unsuccessful in seeking out grants, we'd benefit from funds from the FBC for small items such as seeds, which have thankfully been ordered through Clark, potato bags, additional compost. Since the community members have paid for their school beds and the timber, that's left us a little bit short for the organic compost. We will continue to apply also for the 24-25 Mass Farm to Table Institute. We applied last year. We were not successful. Bummer. How will we reflect on our goals and projects, and how can the FPC support us in our ongoing reflection? We meet weekly and reflect continuously on our achievements, issues, and forward plans. We share these with both principals, who are still utterly supportive, which is fantastic. We have parents who come to collect their children and say, oh, what are you doing? So we tell them, and they are also interested, even if they don't live in West Hampton. We have some from Southampton who want to be involved. We have sought support from local companies. K&J Tree Services are giving us mulch. Thank you. Mulch to go between the beds so we don't have to mow. And they're giving us classroom logs, which the students will engrave with K&J and the school name, and then they'll varnish them so they stay solid so that we can have outdoor classes. At least once a year, and probably more, we share our progress with the town through both newspapers, the Bell Tower and the Council on Aging. And at the town meeting, which comes up in June, we talk about what we're doing. And if the FPC has any other suggestions, we'd love to hear them. Done.
Beautiful. Thank you, Sue. So much work going on. It's amazing. Gearing up for another season. Another busy circle that is maybe not a circle anymore. Rosanna's going to tell us about Amherst Mobile Market.
Thank you, Christine. I think many of you know about this, but probably other members not, that since January 2nd, the Amherst Mobile Market is a nonprofit organization. So now we are fortunate to have support from CES Healthy Hampshire until this June 2024. They are supporting us with technical support and also with stipends and interpretation for us. That is great, and we are very grateful for that. And at the same time, we are very, very busy because right now we have to do everything. Yes, and we are busy. We are working with a consultant that is great also. Also, we are applying for grants for this year to cover all the needs of the mobile market. So we are waiting for responses, but also we have a grant from the town of Amherst that we are trying to use not only the half of the grant, the fund that we have, because we have like 60 for 2 years. We are trying to ask if we could use more funds for this year, also taking some of the money for next year to this year. So we are on that coordination also, and do many things. We are continue working with the board and members of the community. We are working together. We are in the same meeting, reflecting, discussing, and also we created like a table, decision-making table, where we have 4 numbers. The first one is that the community itself that is in the meeting could decide, or the second is that we could decide together, and the third one is that we could depend on what decision is, we could ask for input and the board could take the decision after, or we could if something very technical, so the board could take the decision by themselves. Yes. So we are exercising all our voices at the meetings, and right now we are happy but very, very busy. Thank you very much. And so now we are partners. We are not circles, but of the FPC, but we are the Food Action, but we are partners, right? Like the co-op, like the Survival Center also. Thank you very much.
Yes, the FPC has spawned its first new organization in the Amherst Mobile Market. It's pretty amazing. And I know you guys are working so hard to raise money, so I will just say amherstmobilemarket.org, right? .org. And you can donate.
Right now is .com.
.com.
We are
Thank
planning
you.
to change to .org at some
Okay.
point.
You can donate and spread the word for the awesome work that they're doing. Okay, we are going to shift gears. So all of that was kind of the food action realm. And now we're going to shift gears to the food policy realm. We'll hear first from the food policy circle, and then from the two subcircles, which are storytelling circle and size-based discrimination circle. So I believe Emily Reardon is going to speak for food policy circle.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. Sorry, I'm a little bit underprepared for this, but I'll try my best. So, I'm Emily. I work at the Food Bank of Western Mass, and I joined this group, I think about like 2 years ago. So I was the facilitator for this circle for a while, and then I was the coordinator, and I just recently, I'm recently not the coordinator anymore, but I'm still just going to do this update. So our goals as a food policy circle right now are really narrowing down our policy priorities to focus on, I guess, a set of like state legislation and federal legislation. We haven't really gotten there, but state legislation that really promotes food access, and through conversations like with members just about what they care about specifically, we've kind of found that a lot of the stories and the things that are coming up, these themes of what people really care about, comes back to transportation. So we're going to try to focus a lot on transportation as well. So that, and it, as everybody knows, like all of these things tie into food security and, transportation, housing, all of these different things kind of add to the burden of food insecurity. So we're kind of going to try to focus on a few different areas. Transportation, just like basic food access programs. We're still in the process of like really narrowing down that list so that when we do advocate and go to legislators, we can like really have a clear sense of what we stand for and like what we're supporting. Speaking of that, so we also really want to have a presence at in the state legislature and just in the community in general when it comes to advocacy. So last year around this time, we went to the State House and we advocated for a few different policies that we decided on, and it was a really great trip, and we definitely want to do something like that again. And just, in general, advocating for more things, being more of a presence like in the community, even local things that we could do and get involved in. And we also, I think, really want to like expand to hear from more people that are not within our circle that maybe care about a certain topic or a certain policy. I think that would be really helpful for us to get input from others. Let me see. Where was the other question? The FPC. So the Food Policy Council can always also like let us know if there's an event or an advocacy opportunity that they would want us to engage in. If there's something that we don't hear about, we would love to look into that. That's a way that, you know, we could kind of connect. And so like a lot of the other circles, our circle did undergo some changes. Caitlin was a great partner and did a lot of work for us. So just kind of, you know, we're figuring out new members. There's, you know, older members that are stepping up. So yeah, I mean, we're really just trying to kind of get our policy priorities in order and really kind of make an effort to just advocate more for policy. And create really like meaningful connections with Hampshire County legislators, which we're lucky that we already do have some. But just, you know, strengthening those relationships and making sure that they know that we exist and we're you know, willing to speak up and advocate for things for Hampshire County. So I think that's pretty much it.
That's awesome. Thank you, Emily. And thank you for jumping in at the last minute to give the report too.
Yeah, no problem.
Very good. So now we will hear from Storytelling Circle. Alexandra Mello is going to give us an update on a lot of good stuff happening in storytelling.
Hi, everyone. I'm Alexandra Mello. I'm a circle partner in the Storytelling Circle. I'm also the Storytelling Project Coordinator, which is different than a circle coordinator. It's a special role that we created because we have such a big project and such ambitions. And luckily, we were able to allocate some funding to that through June this year. So I hold that role as well as being a circle partner. We are a very unique circle in the sense that we have a pretty good sized outside grant from Mass Humanities to work on a year-long project, and also from the Food Policy Council. So we had about 50% of the funding. And we were able to train our members last year in trauma-informed storytelling, collection, interviewing practice. And then some of us, including Kia Auki and myself, are also trained oral historians through the National Public Housing Museum. So we brought in like all this training, all of our life experience. We have amazing circle partners that bring in a lot of diverse skills and viewpoints. And we went out in the community, and in the last year, we have actually, since the fall, have conducted workshops and also 24 completed interviews around food security issues and the pandemic are sort of our general buckets of interest. And we've found that we have amazing themes emerging, which are going to feed into kind of two presentations to the public. And one is a month-long exhibit at the Forbes Library in Northampton, where we'll have the entire reading room. So it'll be spread around in a very public space versus a gallery where, you know, people may or may not spend time. It's going to have a listening component where you'll be able to scan a QR code and listen to the voice of the person telling their own story or speaking on the subjects that are important to them. And we're also going to have some public events there. So all of that we'll be letting everybody know through our newsletters and emails as we have the dates ready to go on that. Also, the kind of really exciting piece of this is that it's not just a month at the library. We're building out an entire part of a website. So you'll be able to go on, even if you can't go to the exhibit, or you go to the exhibit and you look at a few pieces, you can go home and you'll be able to listen to it at home, and also the full interviews. As we see this as sort of not just storytelling, but actually a piece of history that has happened that we are all living through together. We're looking for a permanent home for our archive as a piece of oral history as well. So we will keep you all up to date in our newsletters. The circle meets weekly and is working really hard towards these goals. We collaborate with the communication circle, which we have a lot of crossover of circle partners in both circles. And we're going to be disseminating our stories out through social media, newsletter, press releases, and working with our partner organizations throughout the FPC to help spread the word. What we could use for support is really, we need funding. So we're hoping to, Kristen has applied for a grant recently with the support of others in Healthy Hampshire and FPC that we may be able to continue for another year if we receive that. And we're looking for other funding options to continue, even to just work with what we have. Like we have dreams of a podcast. We have so much content and we're not going to be able to use it all in the time and the funding we have right now. We're also looking for folks to come to the event, and if you cannot come, or you can come to listen to the stories. We are using story share time in some of the circles, the FPC, but there's just so much to share that once we have those available, we'd love for you to listen and give us feedback and ideas of where we could share them out further, and to have people come to the exhibit and come to the website. And we need funding. We are working hard within our capacity to look for funds, but we could always use more funds. How we reflect is our circle, like I said, meets weekly. So we are always kind of checking in, or where are we at? Where do we need to go? We have great external partners, and we also have a consultant, Johan Rashi Vega from Holyoke Media, who joins us, and he's working on the audio side of it, the recording and editing, and he has a ton of expertise in journalism as well. So we're really lucky to have this group come together every week to reflect where are we at, where do we need to go, and what is our sort of bigger vision. The stories, as you heard earlier, we fall under food policy. So we really want to be lifting up the new narratives that we have. Personally, we kind of knew what was going to come of it, but some of it's been a surprise. So we have a lot of narratives around food justice that have emerged from the community that we want to share out. And we just want to continue to reflect on, not just what we thought, but what is the community telling us, and to continue this. So I see I'm at time, so thank you very much. And we hope you come to the exhibit and listen to our stories as they're available.
Thank you so much, Alexandra. I keep saying this, but another busy circle. It's astonishing how much work is going on across all of the circles of the FPC. And another size-based discrimination, new circle. Caitlin Marquis is going to tell us about what they're up to.
Hi, everyone. And thank you for all the kind words I've been hearing. I miss all the folks in the circle that I was previously in. And I better get going. Okay, so the size-based discrimination circle, we're a subcircle of the food policy circle. Our aims are to advance governmental and institutional policies that build on cultural values around food and eating, acknowledge that weight stigma and discrimination place people in vulnerable conditions, and integrate culture, agriculture, nourishment, and well-being. And we are working on a lot of things because we're pretty new. So our goals for this year are, we are in conversations with the National Association for the Advancement of Fat Acceptance around hosting a webinar or educational opportunity for folks to kind of learn about the intersections between food justice and fat acceptance. And we are hoping to partner with some other folks on putting that on, but the conversations with NAFA have been really awesome, and we're looking forward to that. We are hoping to, successfully advocate in favor of the Massachusetts bill banning discrimination on the basis of height and weight. You may not have known that it is legal to discriminate on the basis of height and weight in Massachusetts and pretty much everywhere else in the country. With a few exceptions. And there's a bill that's been in the legislature for a while now. And so we're advocating for it to get to the floor, get voted on this year, and hoping to maybe write an op-ed around that for the Gazette. We're working to deepen our own understanding of fat justice through teach-ins during our meetings. And we are just sort of trying to, make a name for ourselves, help other folks in the FPC understand us and why we exist. The other thing we'd like to do is have some kind of fun community building event for fat folks sometime this year. And we want to change our name. We don't know what yet. We're working on that part, but and what we need to support our goals, we do need to pay the folks who are going to put on this webinar for us. So we're hoping maybe that could come through the Urban Agenda Grant. and some support around just kind of advertising that event, getting the word out about it from the communication circle and from other people to help spread the word. If we do decide to have more of like a fun community building event, it would be nice to have a budget for that. We also, if we put out advocacy alerts around the size-based discrimination bill, we'd love for folks to, take advantage of those, contact the folks who need to hear from us about the importance of that. Just kind of like speaking up and spreading the word on our behalf. The other thing I'll say is that our circle has been without a coordinator for a long time. So we are looking for somebody who is willing to be a coordinator, which means attending both size-based discrimination circle meetings and coordinating those, and then also attending food policy meetings. So if anyone's interested, there's an open position and open spaces in the circle. And in terms of reflection, we've talked a lot about just sort of the need to reflect on size-based discrimination policy priorities and kind of how those fit into the larger policy priorities of the Food Policy Council. And then sort of like how we as a Food Policy Council in general are kind of like taking a policy focus to our work. We are hoping to kind of develop some tools and strategies for doing policy advocacy and share those and model those to the rest of the Food Policy Council. So reflecting, I guess, just sort of like on how our advocacy efforts are going, like what's working, what's not working, that kind of thing. We also, this is something I've been told is planned, but thinking about the storytelling circle, kind of helping the other circles of the Food Policy Council to tell their stories. So that's a type of support we'd love as well. Generally, like this is a tough topic for a lot of folks. And so we're just hoping to, work with how we're communicating about it and to reflect on that and invite other people into that process.
Yeah, thank you so much, Caitlin. Yeah, we've been told that we might be one of the only food policy councils around that is focusing on this topic of size-based discrimination. So it's pretty important. And now we are going to shift gears one more time and go into our last core circle and subcircle update. We've got two more, and Zhupeng is going to take it from here.
Thank you. So I'm going to share the report from T, Sokowa, on the capacity building, which is funny that it's called a circle because it's really just one person. So goals for the rest of the year include planning and implementing a food justice-based teach-in series that deepens the knowledge of the FPC working circle and network partners. We just had a meeting about to finalize the topics, and that was really exciting. Create and sustain a food justice-based toolkit of resources for FPC partners to access and utilize to support their work in their circles. Support scribes, facilitators, and coordinators with tailored sociocracy training with support from Shayla Massey, and provide technical assistance for various circles to support the completion of their projects, including the harm and repair protocol and the food policy advocacy plan. What's needed to support their goals is participation from working circle partners. And how will you reflect on the goals and projects? This is something, I'm just reading what T wrote. Not something I've thought about too in-depthly. I hope to check in with working circle partners as we go through the training, getting their feedback and reflections as we move through. I'm hoping that the dialogue spaces we host will also provide people with spaces to reflect. I'm kind of big into evaluation, especially around this teach-in series. So I just want to bring forward that. I think I'd like us to put some attention on how we solicit feedback from participants in the teach-ins. That's it. Under time by almost 3 minutes. So I think it's Steve up next to talk about communications, the communications subcircle.
Indeed.
Steve or Stephen?
Either works. Doesn't matter to me. Thank you all. My name is Steve Colacelli. I live here in East Hampton, and I am the facilitator of the Communications Circle. And as of last week, I am now the Communications Coordinator, although we were thinking about maybe making that name a little more badass. So basically the main goal of the Communications Circle this year, for the rest of the year, will be the continued implementation of our strategic communication plan that we spent a good deal of time in 2023 drafting. We worked with a consultant, and then we finally consented to the finalized plan in the summer of last year. And so there's still a lot of work to go to kind of like implement the various aspects of that. The main kind of thrust of that would be to make the communication circle a support for everyone else in all the other circles in the FPC into uplifting their voices and their messages. Kind of a metaphor that I've said several times, probably worn out at this point, but like we conceive of the communication circle as the megaphone. And so we're there to amplify, but the messages and the voices should be coming from the other circles. And so we're just kind of here to kind of like help you all take your messages and then put them out, share them both with the wider FPC network, but also with the wider community through various external means of communication, which we are kind of overseeing, which include our website, our Facebook, and right now our Instagram page. And if you are not currently following those, Facebook and Instagram, I highly encourage you to go do that. And so we are going to continue trying to find new ways to better work with all the other circles. One thing that I will highlight is we have a Google form. It's our news and updates, Circle News and Update submission form. You can find it on our website, and then should be some other places too. But basically, that's kind of hopefully a very easy, straightforward way for the coordinator, the facilitator, or whomever at responsible in different circles to kind of send forward both urgent and less urgent updates. It could be anything from, once a month, just a check-in. Hey, we've been meeting in the, Food Policy Council, and we're still narrowing down what our focus is going to be in the next year. And that's kind of our update. And that could be something that we would put into our newsletter. Or it could be something, urgent, like next week we have a big training and it's open to everybody, but we need to spread the word. And, there's a way on the form to kind of highlight that. Another specific way is working with circles directly to kind of like work on crafting what the content of those messages will look like. So an example is the Hilltown FPC's May the 4th Be With You upcoming dinner that's coming up. We worked with them to kind of compose a flyer. And I linked that earlier when Roz was talking in the chat, if you want to see that. And that's something that we were happy to do with y'all. So along that, specific goals that we have to do is we want to continue to grow our social media followers, subscriber to our newsletter, and we also want to finally set up Google Analytics so we can track what our traffic is to our website. Something like, basically like administrative work there. And then continuing to refine the whole communication systems to make it more either automatic or more process driven, so that like updates to the website and updates to the Facebook and everything continue to work themselves instead of being kind of a mess if there's personnel changes or anything like that. What we need to continue doing this is funding is always great, but like I said last week, I just started as the communications coordinator, which came from funding from the hub, and I think that will help a lot. So we're very grateful for that. Beyond that, I think what we need is better or more participation from the other circles. So we just want to hear from you more, and if we can figure out ways to hear from you better or more easily for you to, drop a line to us and let us know what's going on, we want to work with you on that. And so that's like the big chunk. Yep. And then in terms of reflection, we've got a lot of, we are tracking metrics in terms of followers, likes, number of posts that we make in terms of social media, number of open rate, and number of people who receive our newsletters, et cetera, et cetera. So we have actually some specific numbers. And thank you.
Thank you, Steve. That was great. I challenge you to come up with a name that tops our best role name in the Fort River Garden Circle, which is compost coordinator. No, she means compost queen. Compost queen. Wow, thank you, everybody. That was really, really wonderful to hear all that's going on, all the wonderful work. And it looks like we all pretty much stayed on target with time. So we have a few minutes if you want to ask each other questions or make any comments or high five in each other. Yeah, so just unmute yourself and speak into the circle.
Clapping.
Much. I think this is this was a great meeting where we could be all together. We were connected and to know what we are doing, and that was great. Thank you very much for all your work.
Thank you. I have a question for Stephen. Sometimes I'm sort of a perfectionist when it comes to writing. So sometimes I drag my heels because I think I'm afraid whatever I send you is just going to get published as is. And I wonder how open you all are to getting a drafty draft, to work with.
What do you mean by a drafty draft? I mean, like go back and forth on proofreading?
Not even just proofreading.
Like, are you asking if the communication circle itself would take what you send in and turn it into something more polished?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well,
yeah,
absolutely.
we do that all the time.
Knowing that just helps to motivate me to send something in, even if it doesn't feel finished.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, even on the news and update submission form, there's a box that asks, do you want the communication circle help in crafting your message? And if you check that, then that means we will take that as permission to finesse a little bit.
Got it. Okay, cool. So if no one has other questions or specific questions or comments, I think I'm seeing in the chat, it would be great for us to hear what you'd like to see in the next network forum. There will be music next time, intro music, and we were not quite prepared with that this time. But yeah, if you can put it in the chat, or you can just unmute and say what you'd like.
I guess I just want to say, like, it just continues to feel so amazing for me to see all the different things this Food Policy Council is doing. Like, I don't know. I just want us to really celebrate that and really lift it up. And I think, I don't know if Kia has anything to say about this, but like looking at other FPCs across the country, I think we are so busy and doing so much and accomplishing so much. And so I just hope we can continue, I want to see us brag about it a little bit more, I think, or continue to capture it and get our name out there and things like that, because it's just so impressive, all of this work.
Actually, I can add something to that because I actually have like direct experience with other food policy councils from all over the country. Because T and I had gone to the Johns Hopkins Community of Practice and we all met in Mississippi. And we had been talking prior to that to the other food policy councils from all around the country for a couple of years. And then when we finally met and got together, what really came home to us was the fact that our food policy council is really groundbreaking and doing something completely new that nobody else is doing. And the fact that we made this up from whole cloth, pretty much, started from scratch and have all of these great things happening and are managing, like, I know it's sketchy at times, but managing to get funding to do most of what we want to do, it's really incredible. And people have been asking me since we met in Mississippi, it's last May, so it's almost a year already, you know, like, how can we do it? Can we get help from you guys learning how to set this up? Can we learn about sociocracy? Like, so many questions. So we, as a food policy council on the national level, what we're doing is really something special and it's really different. And nobody really knows how to get where we are. They all want to get where we are, but they don't know how. And I think fundamentally it's because they're mostly government agencies. And in government agencies, you've got a ton of barriers. You've got a ton of people, higher up people who don't want to see your work succeed. You know, there are politics involved, you know, so all of this kind of stuff are things that we've already eliminated. We've eliminated the state. We've eliminated the government people. We've eliminated like so many things that would prevent us from thinking more creatively. And I think the biggest part of that is that we were able to fundamentally give enough power to people that don't normally have it in decision making. And I think that's really the bottom line here. And this is what we've done really successfully. And I think everybody that works in the Food Policy Council feels that. So I'm very happy that, you know, that we're doing what we're doing. It's so good. Check.
Can I tag on a little anecdote that made me really happy that relates to what Kia's talking about? One of our partners, Casey Chapman, is from Mississippi, but she moved up to New England like about 5 years ago. She still has lots of friends and family in Mississippi. And she told me a couple months ago that she got a phone call from a friend in Mississippi. And she said, "You'll never guess what the person, my friend from Mississippi, told me." She said that her friend called up and said, "Hey, guess what I just heard about at a statewide food policy council meeting in Mississippi? Heard about all the awesome work that the Hampshire County Food Policy Council is doing in Massachusetts." So it's pretty cool to see, you know, our humble FPC here being talked about in other states across the country.
That's really awesome, Kristen. And maybe that's a great note to end on. We can end early, and I'm just going to ask everyone to unmute so we can holler and clap and give each other a round of applause.
Yay!
Standing ovation. Thank you, everybody. Send us your thoughts for the next network forum.
Yeah, and if I could just also put one last call for coordinators or people who did updates, if you could send what you said to Zhupong so that we have on record, that would really be helpful. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Have a good afternoon, good weekend.
Okay.